Bolton got started somewhere around the Carter administration, or soon there before, let's see. And kind of got a reputation for trying to kill peace processes and forward war efforts. And for whatever reason that I'm not sure of yet, AIPAC gravitated to him pretty early on and did their best to get him into different positions. But because he's so beyond war hawkish, he's not a very popular candidate or person. And there's no way that any Senate would confirm him in any hearings or anything. That's why he's National Security Advisor now. He can't get another, he can't get a confirmed type of a position because of his ruthless war hawkishness. He still supports the Iraq war. He still thinks that was a good idea. But he also pushed for it. He was like one of the main guys. He might have been like the main guy making sure that that happened. I don't know that, but I know that he pushed for the yellow cake uranium thing to go through. Jesus. And I know he lied to everybody to get Iraq invaded at any cost. In fact, in 2002, he went to Brazil, and the Prime Minister of Brazil had just been re-elected to 4 years, and Colin Powell had just commended him for being a great leader like the year before. Well, he went there and told him he's got 24 hours to resign. And he told him, we know where your kids are. So he resigned. And the reason that he did that was because he stood in the way of invading Iraq. That's the kind of person he is. And that's just one story of his behaviors. For him to be anywhere near high office is absolutely terrifying and bad. Very, very bad. Especially where he's at right now, because he's been working on getting there for like 40 years. He's been trying to get set up an invasion of Iraq for 40 years. For whatever reason, he's got very tight ties with Israel, and everything he does is exactly in line with what they want, regardless of what it does for the United States. He's not Jewish. He's not even Israeli. I don't know what the story is with him. I don't know. He's American. He went to Yale. So I really don't know what the story is, his backstory. And I've said before, I really don't care what his backstory is. It's not important. What's important is he needs to go away before he starts war with Iran and absolutely tanks the global economy, to say the least. I mean, that's just a small part of it, because a global war, what are the chances it will go nuclear, once other countries get involved because we're attacking a nation unprovoked? What are the chances that other countries are going to come to the rescue of Iran? They would be right to do so. So he's perfectly willing to start a war with Iran or China or everybody, because he's part of the Project for the New American Century think tank that had Dick Cheney, Wolfowitz, Donald Rumsfeld, John Forbes, Lord Rothschild, Scooter Libby, Jeb Bush, to name a few of the people who are in there. They're the who's who of the people who were around Bush's election in 2000, W. Bush election in 2000. As if you recall, Jeb Bush was the one who made it happen. He just happened to be in Florida where the swing vote was, and he happened to be the governor of Florida right then. I don't know the backstory with that, but I have a feeling it's about like the rest of this, very much coordinated. Because they hacked the Diebold voting machines. They redistricted all kinds of districts so that they would go Republican. This was like, Wolfowitz and Libby stuff with the redistricting. And I don't know who, I want to say Libby or Wolfowitz had something to do with the Diebold stuff, but I don't know. I don't remember for sure. But once it got to Florida, the swing votes were there. It didn't go their way, and they pressured Al Gore to concede before the vote counts. I don't know, some people remember that, but they pressured him to concede. And when the vote counts were finally done, he didn't legitimately win. He did not legitimately win Florida. So he was cheated into office in a lot of different ways. And I don't know if they had another plan B, but this one was a big deal. So he got right into office in 2000. The Project for the New American Century put out a document that said that they would need a new Pearl Harbor, a document called Rebuilding America's Defenses, saying that they need a new Pearl Harbor to get the military spending required to invade the Middle East. I'm not just talking about Iraq, I'm talking about 7 countries in 5 years, as General Wesley Clark stated on a couple different interviews. He was told that at the Whitehouse on the 20th of September, which was 9 days after 9/11. He was told that they had made the decision to go to war with Iraq, not Afghanistan, Iraq. So this was pre-planned, way more than they let on, and then some. And Wesley Clark wasn't involved in any of that. He was an observer and reporting back what his experience was. And his take was that there was well, anyways, that's aside. Anyway, he said that they were going to invade 7 countries in 5 years. It included Libya, Iraq, Syria, Sudan, Somalia, and Iran was the last one. I'm sure I'm forgetting one. Libya. Anyways, Iran was the last one on the list. So Syria and Iran still remain to be toppled. Everything else, belly up. They did it. And I personally don't think there's a chance in hell that they didn't also plan and execute 9/11. I don't think that's a coincidence that they wanted it and it happened and they went ahead. So that's who John Bolton is. He was part of the Project for the New American Century. So they planned on invading Iran on paper in 2000. 1 year exactly, 1 year before 9/11 is when they already had it mapped out that they wanted to attack Iraq. And that's documented. It's even on WikiLeaks. So now, 20 years later, John Bolton finds himself in the position of National Security Advisor with Donald Trump, who is also very closely tied to Israel because Jared Kushner and Benjamin Netanyahu used to sleep in the same bed, and Kushner calls him Uncle Bibi. So yeah, they're a little bit tight. They're relatives. So he's got Bolton in there as the the guy in charge of wars, the guy who's never ever not wanted to go to war with somebody. I honestly have never heard of a case of that. And so 20 years later, he finds himself in the position where he can make war with Iran and make us finish the plan out, the initial part of the plan anyway. And election cycle is coming up next year, and it is absolutely not a secure thing that Trump will get into office. Absolutely not. He may even get thrown out of office before then. So Bolton is heating up this rhetoric because he has to start the war to finish up his plan. He will never get another chance. He's 70 years old. He's going to start the war unless something stops him. And it's very close already. He's provoking the hell out of Iran. He's got aircraft carrier right there. And so it's a dire situation. And I don't know of any way out of it. You know, I mean, aside from Trump getting thrown out and maybe Bolton being surprised at being unseated, hopefully maybe Trump will have a change of heart knowing what he's doing and stop what's going to turn into absolutely the biggest war of my lifetime. You know, I mean, it'll make Vietnam and all the other wars look like small stuff. So it'll take the economy. It's a war of aggression, so we're going to be responsible for it in every way because they have not provoked us at all, and we're false flag after false flag trying to attack them. And it's so blatant and stupidly planned out that it's obvious that it's all bullshit. So the whole world knows that we're trying to start the war. So who in the world is going to back us up when it starts? Another question I don't have the answer to, but I imagine any country with sense that can possibly not support the U.S. will not support the U.S. because we're the Fourth Reich. We're the new Nazis. Israel at the helm. But we're the bad guy. We really are. And the world sees it. So we're going to be at not only on the wrong side of history, but at the losing end, because nobody wins a nuclear war if that's where it goes. All we have is military. You know, who knows what Iran has? I wouldn't imagine that they build up much of a military to try and take us on. They probably would go through other means to try to take us on. That would be wise, like cyber warfare or economic warfare. So I don't know, but I think everybody needs to speak up. They need to understand who these people are, how related they are, who's trying to pull the strings, that the fascist Zionists are controlling the State Department for the most part. And I'm talking about the fascist Zionist Israelis controlling our State Department. So it's a disaster. People don't understand the breadth of it. Like, really, they don't cover this stuff in the news at all. If they say anything at all that's derogatory about the state of Israel, it's, you know, they get attacked by the Zionists. They get attacked and, you know, labeled as anti-Semite. It is crazy. It is crazy. They're trying to silence anybody from speaking out against Israel legally. They're trying to silence and stop people from protesting or boycotting any businesses that are in occupied territory illegally. So anybody who boycotts for that reason would be in violation of the law, which is such a violation of the First Amendment. It's ridiculous. So yeah, stuff has been unfolding really fast for what's happening. It's disturbing or shocking is an understatement. I just never thought I would see things get so fascist so fast, even with Trump. And you know, and I'm not saying that Trump is any better or worse than anybody else. My personal opinion is that he is, but That's not what it's about. It's not partisanism at all. This is about Israel controlling our domestic, our foreign policy for their benefit and our detriment. So, and they're doing it through John Bolton. You know, John Bolton is he's the one who wants to do it, and he will do it because it's his last chance. There's no way he will ever get another chance like this, and he knows it. He will start this war before he gets out of there, if he possibly can. It's his life legacy. I have not seen a compassionate wink from the guy. He's just evil. He really is, and I don't say that about people usually. So, resist. And that's all I have to say about that.